Hello students, today we will be studying the osteological features of Norma frontalis. When the skull is observed from the anterior aspect, it is known as the Norma frontalis. The shape of the skull is oval in this view, being wider above than below. What are the bones which are seen in this view? The frontal bone, which is a single unpaired bone. The two maxillae, paired bones. The two nasal bones, which are again paired. The two zygomatic bones, paired bones, and the mandible, which is unpaired. They are the bones which are seen in the Norma frontalis. Now we will see what are the various sutures that are seen in this view. The junction between the zygomatic process of the frontal bone and the frontal process of the zygomatic bone is marked by a suture, and that is the frontozygomatic suture. The junction between the nasal part of the frontal bone and the frontal process of the maxilla is seen along the medial margin of the orbital opening in its upper part. This is one more suture seen in this view. Junction between the nasal part of the frontal bone and the nasal bones is called as the frontonasal suture, seen near the midline. The junction between the two nasal bones is seen as a midline suture just above the anterior nasal aperture, and that is the internasal suture. The junction between the maxilla and the zygoma bone is the zygomatico-maxillary suture, is seen as an oblique suture running downwards and laterally from the lower border of the orbital opening. So this here is the zygomatico-maxillary suture. Junction between the two maxilla bones is seen as a midline suture called as the intermaxillary suture. It lies just below the anterior nasal aperture. So these were all the sutures that are seen in this view. Now when we look at the other features, we see three major apertures or openings in this view. One is the anterior nasal aperture, and just lying above and lateral to this are the two orbital openings. So these are the three large apertures seen here. The anterior nasal aperture, it is a midline opening, pyriform in shape, wider below than above. Its upper border is formed by the lower border of the nasal bones. Its lateral and inferior borders are formed by the nasal notches of the two maxillae. The anterior nasal spine is a sharp projection at the lower margin of the nasal aperture in the midline. Rhinion is the lower end of the internasal suture. The margins of this aperture give attachment to the nasal cartilages. We now go on to see the orbital openings. Each orbital opening is present above and lateral to the anterior nasal aperture. Each orbital opening is quadrangular in shape and possesses four margins: supraorbital, infraorbital, medial and lateral margin. The supraorbital margin, it is formed by the frontal bone, supraorbital notch or supraorbital foramen is situated at the junction of the medial 1/3 and the lateral 2/3 of the supraorbital margin. The medial 1/3 of this margin is rounded while the lateral 2/3 is sharp. The supraorbital notch or foramen transmits the supraorbital nerve and artery and a communicating vein between the angular and the superior ophthalmic veins. The infraorbital margin. This is formed by the maxilla bone medially and by the zygomatic bone laterally. The lateral orbital margin is formed by the frontal process of the zygomatic bone inferiorly and by the zygomatic process of the frontal bone superiorly. The medial orbital margin is formed by the frontal bone above and the lacrimal crest of the frontal process of maxilla bone below. We then go on to see other features on the frontal region. The superciliary arch. It's a curved elevation above the medial part of the orbit. Glabella is a median elevation between the two superciliary arches. Nasion is the junction of the internasal and the frontonasal sutures. Frontal eminence, also known as the frontal tuber. It's a rounded elevation on either side just above the superciliary arch. We then go on to study the maxilla bone. Each maxilla shows an infraorbital foramen. It is situated about 1 centimeter below the infraorbital margin. The infraorbital nerve and vessels pass through the infraorbital foramen. Incisive fossa. It is situated just above the incisor teeth. Canine eminence. It is produced by the root of the canine teeth. Canine fossa is situated just lateral to the canine eminence. Frontal process of the maxilla bone. It is sandwiched between the nasal bone and the lacrimal bone. Zygomatic process of the maxilla bone. It articulates with the zygomatic bone. Alveolar process of the maxilla. It bears the sockets for the upper teeth. Let us now see the zygomatic bone or the zygoma. Situated below and lateral to the orbit. It is marked by a foramen which is called as the zygomatic zygomatic-facial foramen. Zygomatico-facial foramen. What passes through this foramen? The zygomatico-facial nerve passes through the zygomatico-facial foramen. The next feature here is the mandible bone. Now the details of the mandible bone will be done as a separate video. So we do not see the details right now. We finally go on to see the muscle attachments that are seen in this view. The nasal bone gives attachment to procerus. The superciliary arch gives attachment to the corrugator supercilii muscle. The frontal process of the maxilla bone gives attachment to the orbital part of the orbicularis oculi muscle. This muscle is also taking attachment to the nasal part of the frontal bone. The frontal process of maxilla also gives attachment to the medial palpebral ligament and to the levator labii superioris alechnesi muscle. Between the infraorbital margin and the infraorbital foramen, there is attachment of the levator labii superioris muscle. Below the infraorbital foramen and nearer to the canine fossa, we see attachment of the levator anguli oris muscle. The zygomatic bone just below the zygomaticofacial foramen gives attachment to the zygomaticus minor muscle, and just lateral to it, it gives attachment to zygomaticus major muscle. So both muscles here, zygomaticus minor and zygomaticus major. Just adjacent to the nasal notch on this area, we see attachment of the nasalis muscle. The incisive fossa gives attachment medially to the depressor septi muscle and laterally to the incisivus labii superioris muscle. The alveolar process of the maxilla opposite the molar teeth gives attachment to the buccinator muscle. Additional to all this will be the muscles attached on the mandible, which we will be dealing with when we do the video on mandible bone. These were all the features that are seen in the norma frontalis. We saw the bones seen in this view, the sutures that are seen, the three major apertures, the features seen in the entire norma frontalis, and also the muscles attached. Thank you.